Hey guys, welcome to my channel Elite Wrestling World. My name is GhostSaad. Thank you guys for joining me right here on AEW Dynamite post-show review. Dynamite was a very good show tonight. We are just 1 week away from Dynasty pay-per-view, which is going to be a fantastic event. It's Wednesday night and you know what that means. The show opens with the intro video. Shane Strickland attacks Samoa Joe from behind during his entrance and they brawl on the floor near the stage, where Joe quickly gets the upper hand and lays Swerve out. Leaning a table against the barricade, Shane gets away ... and spears Samoa through the table. Hot start to the show and now we have our first action of the night. Adam Copeland versus Penta for TNT Championship. Penta getting a little control early, Fear Factor blocked, super kick, clothesline sends Copeland to the floor. Big overhand chop sends the champion to the apron and we go to break. Back from commercial, Copeland with a kicks and then a classic flying head scissors, keeping the hold in. Grounding Penta briefly, but the challenger slips out with a headstand and gets a near fall off a kick. Adam fires one back, stereo lariats, discus lariat, stereo pump kicks and both men are down and out. On their knees, trading forearms and to their feet. Back in the ring, Adam laid out on the apron and we go to break. Copeland rolls him over for the arm trap crossface and wrenches it in. To the apron, Adam falls to the floor and both men are down. Back inside, on the hooks, Copeland slips out, off the ropes, springboard ... Spear, IT's over, Adam Copeland wins by pinfall with the spear, retaining the AEW TNT Championship. Post-match, the lights go down, they come back up and Julia Hart is staring Copeland down. Brody King attacks him from behind and face washes him in the corner. Sleeper hold applied, but here comes Willow to attack Julia. Brody lets go of Adam to save her and Copeland wakes up and fights him, low bridging him to the floor. So we are building up the hype for the trios match between House of Black versus Copeland, Eddie and Mark Briscoe. Renee interviews Chris Jericho, Hook, and Shibata. Jericho says Hook bringing Shibata in shows that he's listening and the strategy tonight is that they'll sit under his learning tree as he takes care of Anthony Ogogo. They all fist bump and Shibata uses his phone to ask what Jericho's deal is before complimenting Renee on her necklace. Back from commercial, Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe are interviewed backstage by Renee. Briscoe says he's feeling amazing but simultaneously he's in pain after the war he had with Kingston. Eddie says he's beat up but it's pro wrestling and they do what they gonna do. Adam Copeland rolls up and says he loves them and asks if they're good and says he's as good as he can be and he wants to make sure they're good for Dynasty. Willow and Stokely are there and Stoke tries to get her a TNT Championship match but Willow waves him off and suggests a mixed tag. Adam agrees, Stoke awkwardly apologizes to Eddie, who shrugs, and that's that. The Young Bucks are backstage and Nicholas Jackson wants to just air the footage but Matthew asks him to provide some context. Nicholas agrees and he talks about the last time they wrestled FTR being at All In and there's still some wounds from those days that haven't healed and now's the time to talk about it. The biggest show in wrestling history, their biggest match, but right before that match there was an incident backstage between two individuals, the scapegoat, Jack Perry, a lovable kid from Southern California who reminds them of themselves. And they say if you've got a problem with him, you're probably the problem. The other individual tried to make the whole show about himself and is good friends with FTR. While they were dealing with the fallout from this incident they were off their game. The locker room was in disarray, journalists who needed answers, and they had no time to hydrate or even pray. So the history books say FTR beat the Young Bucks at All In, but there should be a giant asterisk next to the win. But Matthew argues that the ramifications of the incident threaten to take the show down, and they roll the tape. Jack Perry is backstage and CM Punk walks up to him. They square up and talk, Perry just setting his hair and then Punk shoves him twice. Jack comes in. Punk gets a guillotine choke and Samoa Joe pulls Perry away while some guys pull Punk back, and in the meantime Punk just goes aggressively towards the monitors where Tony Khan is seated. So I think if you lunge towards your boss like that you should get fired. Tony Khan gave to contracts and that's your behavior towards your boss. Anyway, the Bucks say the real bad part is after all that FTR wanted to shake their hands. FTR hit the ring and asked why the Bucks aired the footage, what they were hoping to accomplish. They're sick and tired of hearing and talking about this, and the crazy part is Dax Harwood doesn't necessarily disagree. Without the Young Bucks he still might be shaving Cash Wheeler's back, but somewhere along the line they stopped caring about AEW and only started caring about EVP, and on the back of every single man and woman back there who comes to weep. They will continue to build this for every single man and woman who buys a ticket and comes to a show, and if the Bucks want to be there, great. This ain't about Wembley, it's not about All Out, it's about a company he loves, an industry he loves, and the AEW World Tag Team Championship. And so we go to break. Back from commercial, we get a hype reel for Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay. Renee interviews Will Ospreay on the stage. He says there's a rumor that he's afraid of the grind, and he has no idea where this comes from. He's one of the only guys traveling from the UK to America every single weekend delivering best wrestling matches this world has ever seen. And the guy who said people who are afraid of the grind only got where they are by grinding on the boss's daughter. He addresses Bryan saying he's faster and stronger and he'll need to take him down on the mat to beat him, but Danielson is special and he can't say he's the best in the world until he pins Bryan in the middle of that ring, and he will. Because he's Will Ospreay and he's on another level. Julia Hart gets a video package about how she's going to turn Willow's smile into a frown. Next up is Shibata and Lion Hook versus Shane Taylor Promotions. Jericho and Ogogo to start, but he immediately tags Moriarty in. Y2J with chops, side headlock, shot off, shoulder block, early lion sue. Nope, Shibata tags in, big boot, he shrugs off elbows from Lee. Back from commercial, Hook gets Taylor up for a German suplex and clears a path to a tag. Shibata and Moriarty legal, Jericho and Hook end up arguing on the floor. Ogogo runs interference and Taylor cracks Shibata with a right hand. Moriarty gets Shibata up while Lion Hook are arguing. Lee Moriarty wins by pinfall with a brainbuster on Shibata. Post-match, Hook tells Jericho off while going to check on Shibata and help him up. A quick match for Okada. Post-match, Okada gets on the mic and accepts Pac's challenge and he'll see him at Dynasty. The comes down with violence on his mind, but the Young Bucks are right behind him and throw him in the ring. FTR come in but get overwhelmed and the Elite stands tall after a chair shot from Okada takes Pac down. And so we go to break. Back from commercial, Renee introduces Thunder Rosa and then Toni Storm. Storm throws champagne in Thunder's face. Rosa fights back. Luther breaks them up. Deonna Purrazzo tries to come to Thunder's aid but she shoves her aside. Next up is Anna Jay versus Mariah May, a very good match between the two ladies. Post-match, Jay puts her in the Queen Slayer but Mina makes the save. Shirakawa gets a pair of champagne glasses and cradles Mariah on the mat. They just kissed. Mercedes is interviewed by Alex Marvez. She talks about her past with Willow and says she's looking forward to Double or Nothing. Before she can say who she'd rather fight, the lights go out and there's the sounds of a struggle. The lights come back up and Mercedes is hurting on the floor as we go to break. It's main event on Dynamite. Dustin Rhodes versus Samoa Joe. Fighting on the floor, Joe minding the count. Rhodes bleeding from the forehead and Samoa hammers the wound with punches as we go to break. Back from commercial, Joe with a couple of sentences. Dustin back out to the floor. Joe follows, drawing him up, but Rhodes passes Joe into the ring post and grabs the title belt from ringside. Back inside, referee Paul Turner admonishing him. He eventually gives up. Big boot. Crossroads can't put Joe away. Samoa grabs the belt. Samoa Joe wins by pinfall with a lateral press. Post-match, Joe chokes Dustin out with a coquina clutch. Swerve arrives and breaks it up with a house call. Strickland grabs the chain, loads his fist, and drops Joe with a punch. Whipping at him, but Samoa rolls out of the ring. Joe staggered as the locker room empties and Prince Nana grabs the title belt and presents it to Swerve. Swerve holds the title while Nana dances behind him. He holds it up at an apoplectic Samoa Joe. That's the show, folks. Next week Dynamite is stacked. Adam Copeland and Willow vs. Brody and Julia mixed tag team match. Will Ospreay vs. Claudio. Please guys, like and share this video, subscribe to my channel and keep watching Elite Wrestling World.